we've got the best promoters in Australia. You know, we've got the best promoters in the world. Let's just ride with them. Because Brock, once you beat one of these guys, listen, like I said, Tszyu can fight, Nikita can fight, all great fighters. But we've got this little bit extra. You look a little bit. Well, you're better looking than Ryan Garcia. This is me just being from a promoter's point of view, and you can fight. So I'm just saying, if we can get this all working, like these guys are going to go to town on you, and it's I don't have any doubt that you can beat anybody when you prepare properly for a fight.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
That's a decent rap. Better looking than Ryan Garcia. Yeah, take that one. Take that one. Welcome back to the No Limit Boxing Podcast, our first one for 2025, and we are joined by special guests Jeff Fenech and Brock Jarvis. Brock's got a big fight coming up on March 12th at the Hordern Pavilion, and the Dream Team is here together today to talk us through their preparations leading into the big fight against Keith Thurman and get to know Brock and Jeff and their history a little bit as well along the way. Boys, thanks for coming in.
Pleasure, mate.
Thanks, George.
That Dream Team turned to a bit of a nightmare over the last year and a half, but really happy to say that I'm honoured to be back trying to help this kid that, from a 16-year-old to his age today, 27, is one of the hardest workers in the sport, loves the sport, and this is a huge opportunity that No Limit have given Brock Jarvis. If he can beat this guy, and like I said, anybody can say that he's 35, 36, over the last 10 years, he's been one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound, every year. And whenever he fights, he always comes 110% ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brock, he mentioned you're one of the hardest workers in boxing. The rig obviously speaks for itself when we talk about that. Tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got into boxing. For anyone who doesn't know the Brock Jarvis story, how you got into boxing and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, well, I grew up in the Shire. I'm from Cronulla. Every young bloke in Sydney wants to be a footy player, when they grow up. So, and coming from a rugby league background, my old man and my uncle, obviously, always wanted to play football, played from a young age. And when I got to about maybe 14, 15, a few of the boys that were at the same club, DLSL Junior Rugby League Football Club in Caringbah. I went along training with them one day, and then I just became obsessed with the sport. Was really intrigued, always was with boxing, and from then on I started to pursue. Had a few amateur bouts, and then one day, obviously Jeff's got a relationship with my uncle, so my old man brought me to meet Jeff, and that was it. Originally, I just thought I was going to meet him, and then he showed some genuine interest in me, and then here we are now.
Now, Jeff talked about your work ethic as a trainer. What did you learn from Jeff as a trainer during that period when you finally got to work with Jeff and got to grow to the point that you are now?
I mean, Jeff's a extremely intelligent man when it comes to boxing. So I've learned so much from him. Everything, just so much about the mindset and just a lot. He's been like a mentor for me. So I've always really admired Jeff and what he's done with his career. So he's a great human to be around, and he's really he's been played a significant role in my journey.
There's been some challenges over the years that you've had to face. What have been some of the biggest challenges for both of you that you think you've come across?
I'll go first. It's quite simple. The more success you have, George, the bigger this grows, the bigger your wallets grow. And now listen, I don't care who you are, what you say you are. Fame and fortune changes everybody. And all of a sudden, you have people talking in your ear that you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. And, it can affect you. And it affected our relationship. But for me, I've got a job to do. If they're not going to do it my way, if you do it my way and something happens, I have to take the blame, if you do it another way, or if you've been doing other things, it's not for me to say that, but like I said, you just got to, like I said, I always say one thing to Brock. Every single day that I left Newtown PCYC, his uncle was there a part of it. I couldn't wait to get back there for the next day. When I was a young person, a lot of my friends had that tattoo on them, ACAC, all coppers are. Yeah, that was me. When I finally went to the youth club, I met Brian Chickamore, Les Jajura, Pat Jarvis. Wow, my whole life changed. And with Johnny Lewis, I just wanted to be back at that gym every day. As soon as I left and we had dinner, I wanted to go back to show him what I could do. And I can say this without any hindrance at all. That was him exactly. From 16, we went to Mexico. This guy sparred guys who had 50 fights and stuff. And although he wasn't beating them up, he wasn't getting beaten up, and he was learning every time. And then, like I said, there comes a time, and I'll tell you, because there come a time in my life when I one day walked into the Newtown PCYC, and these were Johnny Lewis' exact words, because that fame and fortune changed me as well. He said, "Hey, son, do you see that door you just walked into? Or no, see the door you just walked into? Turn the FUCK around and get the hell out of there." I walked out the door because if he said it in front of everybody, and I was outside crying. He came out and seen me and told me all these stupid things that I'd been doing, and I couldn't disagree because I had been, But you just think it's normal. It's a normal, thing that happens when you become a celebrity, or when you become rich and famous. And look, one of the greatest things that I say that ever happened to me was my first loss against the Zuma Nelsons, my greatest ever fight, because that's the reason why I sit here today. It's the reason why I can speak out openly about the sport. Forget about me being robbed. It gave me the platform to be who I am today, to go through what I went through that day, and then to have the draw, and then to get beaten by him. Yeah, that's why I'm the person I am today. I'd still be in America living there had I not, because I was going straight over to fight in America. I live in the best country in the world, and I'm not going to say all the people are the best people in the world. We've got good and bad in everybody, but I think at this stage of life, with all these Instagrams and all this stuff, I mean, the world's changed, Mate, I tell my boys, I walked into the weigh-in, I didn't even look at my opponent. I looked down, I never stared at him during a fight or during a stare-off. I let my fist do the talking, and I had 15,000 people every fight. So, like I said, but the world's changed. When somebody says something about you got to answer back. People write smart comments about me on Facebook about watches and things like that. So I just tell them, I'm only keeping time while your father was away for your mum. I just tell them, I'm not going to let people talk shit to me. Like I said, if they want to come to my face and say it, it'll be a little better than that, because I'll punch them in the face.
I think it's a really good point you make, because social media has given people direct access to elite athletes that people wouldn't have had in the past, and the opportunity for them to say things that you probably wouldn't say to people's faces.
Well, no, I'm sure they wouldn't say to people's faces. But like I said, George, I'm never. My favourite saying is, if I go out with you, brother, I'm going home with you. I didn't care if I was 10-time world champion. If something happened to you when you're with me, it's going to happen to me. And my dad always said to me, don't you worry about anything that you've achieved or received. You worry about your friend that's beside you.
Now, Brock, Jeff touched on a few really interesting things there. One I want to ask you about is the Mexican training experience. What was it like for you as a young fella going over there and being chucked straight into the deep end like that? And
Oh, man.
Can I just interfere really quick? You got to realise this: when they seen him and seen how good looking, these guys in jeans that weren't even there to train. They all wanted to spar and they all wanted to bash him up, and none of them did.
I don't know about that. I think they beat me up a bit. Look, Jeff gave me, because Jeff was training a fighter by the name of Adrian Rodriguez. He was a light flyweight WBC world champion. And he had this big fight coming up. He was scheduled to fight a guy by the name of Naoya Inoue. I think he was like light flyweight. So what's that, 40?
Yeah, he was 48 kilos. I want to ask Brock a question here. I watched a video while I was in the premises with Rodriguez's manager and his trainer. I was his trainer, but a group of people. And what did I say after I watched Inoue in a fight that he lost against the Russian? Please, Brock, what did I say?
So we sat down and watched an amateur bout doing the homework on
Inoue.
This bloke, Naoya, the no one had really heard of. I think he'd had 4 professional fights at the time. Maybe it might have been 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm not
It
sure.
was
either.
early days. And we sat down and watched an amateur fight that he lost. I'm not sure what competition it was, but Jeff said, this bloke's one of the best fighters I've ever seen.
Wow.
This is early days. And
I
anyway,
said he'll go on to be one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport.
Wow.
And I don't care what people say today. And this was watching him as an amateur, but he doesn't get the credit that he's supposed. I mean, Terence Crawford's a great fighter, but man, if I had a fighter out there that I could choose to train apart from this guy to my left, it would be him any day of the week.
That's solid. That's solid. And so with how his career's progressed now, has he exceeded the expectations that you had even then?
No, I still think he's got much more. I think he's going to maybe do what Pacquiao done, and I think that he's gifted. I think that, again, you know what? I say this about boxing as well. You can be the best fighter in the world or something, and then all of a sudden people say the same about your trainer. If your fighters lose, your trainer's no good. If your fighters win, you get the greatest trainer, Johnny Lewis in the Hall of Fame. But I'm not saying it's been Johnny. But Emmanuel Stewart, he wasn't a trainer. He was a teacher. He taught you things. He showed you things. And that's the kind of person that I want to be. At the start of my training career, I used to think, I want all these boys to be able to do what I could do. And that's where I got it wrong at the start. Now, I treat everybody as an individual. I work on their strengths and their weaknesses on their own. Not, it's an individual sport. So I look at it, and then I hear people who, like I said, you got to admire what George Kambosos has done. But then I hear people like him saying, "Oh, we train for 5 hours a day." If George or anybody that say that can do what he does in an hour, in 2 hours, no, they're just like I said. I mean, and this is what upsets me about the sport today. You're fighting the main event's 36 minutes. Why would you train 5 hours to fight 36 minutes? It just don't make sense. Why would you go and run a marathon every day if you're going to run a 100-metre sprint? It's stupid. And I mean, like I said, you can overdo your body. I'd rather keep the boys a little underdone than overdone, because these boys are guys who know they can push themselves when they have to. They can tell themselves, I've done that before. But if you're burnt out and you can't come back and say, why, I don't have this energy, I don't have the thrust anymore, I just couldn't find it. That's because a lot of these guys burn the engine out before they get into the fight. That's
true. You talked about 2 guys who have gone up in weight and had major success, Inoue and Pacquiao. 2 guys who progressed through the weight divisions. Tell me a little bit about your journey, because from where you started to where you are now, moving up in weight. Tell us about the start and how you got to the decision to come up to this weight.
Well, originally my debut was at flyweight.
No, 48, light flyweight.
48 kilos.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I've just gone through them fast. I think I've had a couple of fights. I've had one fight at featherweight, one fight at super featherweight, one fight at lightweight, one at junior welter. So I've just been going through them. I don't know, I just go on late, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I mean,
yeah.
I've heard some strange accusations, but I don't know. I just go on late and just going through it. I'm still carrying power, and honestly, I feel much better now. Don't get me wrong, I did have to do like some pretty heavy-duty weight cuts.
George, there were days when me and his father would carry him out of the hot bath, carry him to sitting down just before weigh-in. There were times when I'd looked at him, I'd see his face, and I thought, wow, what have I put this kid through? But that's the sport, and we try to dehydrate. I would get down to your lowest weight, and then you're twice as strong as the other guy when you get in there. So, and that's how I was brought up again. So that's what I thought the way we should go. But like I said, things have changed today, and I'm more than happy with the way he's handling himself at this weight. We sparred, 6 rounds yesterday, and they were, not his best rounds, but the 6th round certainly was his best round. So that gives me a great sign that, the fitness levels are up. Now we just need to box, because he hasn't boxed for so long. And I tell everybody, I don't care how far they can run or how fast they can run or what else they can do. The two most important things you do in boxing is shadow sparring, but you've got to obviously pretend there's that guy in front of you, and then in boxing. And if you feel great after that, or if I think that he's boxed 8 or 10 or 12 rounds great, he must be doing the rest right. So, it's a simple format, and it's just about getting it right and getting it right with the person you're working with.
Now, a lot of the punters wouldn't understand just how hard a weight cut is. Can you explain for the general fan watching at home, how hard was it to make those weights?
I used to go to Jeff and say, mate, like I'm X amount over what I do, and he'd say his advice would always be, stop eating, stop drinking.
George
and
needs
run
that
a bit
advice.
further. And I was like, and put some more clothes on. I got, yeah, sweet. So that was my advice that used to guide me through.
George,
the big weight cuts,
and he'll tell you this, because I was such a dedicated person, we'd be in Bangkok and we would share a 200-gram piece of meat for dinner, both of us. So we'd have it cut in half, not because Brock didn't want to pay the rest of the money, but it's no, we would share. We would share one. This time I
let's just get
to
serious
pay.
for 1 minute.
All right.
Let's just get serious.
All right.
When I was younger, so I would always follow Jeff's way of come weight. So that was literally no water, like avoid water. Water's bad. Food was bad. Not bad, but it was just like, that's going to put weight on. So,
When to eat it and what time to eat it?
yeah, there's a certain time that we'd follow. So it'd be like 2 meals a day. And it was like a soldier. Like I'd eat this time and eat that at that time. I'd train at this specific time that was set. That's how I used to do it. And I was always just on and off the scales. But now now times have changed a bit. So I've got a dietitian that helps me. So
Now he eats his food plus mine.
Now it's much easier. I mean, everyone does it now. Like there's a special way of doing it where you're hydrated through the whole process. I'm drinking it's called a water load, and you drink a certain amount of water, and then everything's a diet set out. It's much more professional way of doing it.
So back then, how much were you having to lose and over what period? So, when would you start cutting? Say a week out or?
No.
Yeah, no. I'd just always be conscious of my weight.
Yeah, it would be slowly.
Throughout
That's
the whole
right.
camp.
And then that last week we'd have to lose 5 or 6 kilos when his body was, like already rigid and not eating, not drinking. Yeah.
That's part of the game. Everyone does
Yeah.
it. Every fighter
Yeah, of
does it.
course.
It's just part of the
And
game.
then how much would you put on going into the fight after that?
Oh, man, it's hard to say. It was always different.
He'd always
yeah,
he'd
always
put on
different.
10, 15 pound
Oh,
every,
Yeah, it's always different.
Yeah, yeah.
But
especially.
people don't know, but every fighter, majority of fighters are doing this.
Yeah,
of course they are.
It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
and
you'll
the
see,
ones who do it the best are the ones who get the
100%.
best
not
results.
necessarily. I mean,
No. It is right, George. I mean, if you do it properly, the less impact it has on you. But like I said, I used to do that, and weigh in the same day. I ran 15K a morning before a fight to make weight, and you had to go in the sauna and stuff. And
I'd be laying up for 3 days after that, Jeff, if I did that.
And wait, then my fight went 14 rounds.
That's
the
solid.
same day. But I'm just saying, people can do that. And my greatest thing when I met Brock was I knew he had that same mental strength that I had. And maybe there were times I pushed him too hard, or maybe there were times I thought he could do something because I wanted him to win that title first, and then we can move up, and then we can move up. So, like I said, nothing's perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm trying to make sure that I do things better every time. Every camp, something is added. And like I said, I'm not a guy that tells people to punch bags or to punch. I learned a lot from Emmanuel Stewart and Johnny Lewis. The people-person part that I learned from Johnny Lewis is the most important, because if you don't love going back to training, who wants to go back there? And the things that I learned from Emmanuel about holding pads properly and sparring and wrapping people's hands and doing all that stuff, again, is one of the most important parts of the sport.
So how do we feel about the weight now? You happy at this weight? You look strong.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had issues with weight. I mean, I've always just done what it's just the weight is set, and that's just what it is. Once I agree to it, it's on me. So, but now competing at 154, 160, even 147, it's going to be much easier for me progressing forward. So, I mean, I felt good, felt great my last fight, and I didn't even have to go through that full process of doing a heavy duty weight cut. It's kind of my natural weight, really. So, and I feel that that was the right way to go about it.
Now, on that last fight, it was a great fight. There was a viral moment that we had at the weigh-in. Did you know the glasses that your opponent wore? Did you know about that? And
Mate, I had no idea.
I had no idea either. I was standing there with you. So that, for me, that was a moment that I feel pretty privileged, because I usually get to be there and experience that moment of the face-off with the fighters, and then it all went live for you.
Brock was too busy worrying about his bad breath, let alone looking in his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I said anyway, he rocked up with glasses. I just looked at him and I was like, that's weird. What's he wearing glasses for? But he's a pretty weird bloke, so I just didn't really make too much of it then. Anyway. Face off, and then I see this video come out of me, and I was like, I don't remember seeing a camera, and then he had a camera on his glasses. I couldn't believe it, but
Technology, eh, Jeff?
Unbelievable, yeah.
Now, let's talk about your next opponent, Keith Thurman. Massive fight for you, big opportunity to change the trajectory of your career. What were your thoughts at the moment that you got the opportunity with Keith Thurman?
Mate, it was unreal. I mean, as soon as I heard that I could I got asked the question, do you want to fight Keith Thurman? Of course I want to fight Keith Thurman. It was, it's an amazing opportunity for me to progress, to catapult my career. So, look, Keith's an experienced guy. He's fought the best fighters in the world. So, I've been saying he's older. Do I think that the best Keith Thurman will show up? No, I don't. But can he? Yes, he can. So, I've got to be fully prepared.
So why do you think he won't then? If you think he can?
I don't think he will, because he's been so inactive for so long. I don't think he's going to come back the same. But I'll prepare for. I'm assuming that the best guy's going to come. So I'll be fully prepared. I'm preparing hard right now for the hardest fight of my career.
Given that he's had such a long layoff, how hard is it for you to prepare a strategy going into this fight with Keith Thurman? And what do you see as his strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, for me it's pretty easy. I watch videos with Brock and a lot, and the more I watch, the more I think the fight's going to be harder. I mean, I know that's not going to be the exact Keith Thurman, but if he can bring 70% of that, the guy's a great fighter. I mean, we need to come to an agreement where we both feel that this is the way we're going to do something. And then, listen, mate, I'm only sitting outside. He's got to do the job. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why I've always loved being with Pop Brock. There's been times I'm just about to scream something out, Brock, and he's done it without me yelling, and he knows it's happened for years and years. But like I said, those years and years are all gone, and we're fighting somebody who I believe is without doubt the best fighter Brock's ever faced.
And I know you don't want to give too much away about your plan going into what you're going to do with Thurman, but what do you see as some of his strengths?
He's got fast hands, very fast feet. I think he looks to get, he swings wide, looks to get shots off. He comes out, a lot of his fights he comes out real hard. So I'm expecting a fast start. There's a lot of things he does well. But I've recognised it, and it's my job to capitalise on those things on fight night.
And obviously fighting at the historic Hordern Pavilion. Your first time headlining a main event pay-per-view, but it's also at the location that, Jeff, you won your first ever world title. How cool is it to have that synergy where you're having your first big pay-per-view headline fight, and it's the same venue that Jeff won his world title? Yeah,
I mean, it's super exciting for me, especially fighting in front of all my friends and family here in Sydney. There's nowhere else I'd rather be fighting, so it's going to be a big night, a big occasion, and, I'm very excited for it.
Jeff, what was your experience when you won that world title back at the Horden Pavilion?
Yeah, to be honest, George, I never dreamt of being a boxer. In my 7th fight in 196 days from amateur to pro, I became world champion. And I'll never forget, I tell the story all the time. I got $20,000 for that fight. And I said to my best friend at the time, I said, fuck, if I get another 20,000, I'm retiring. I'm done, brother. I'm done. $40,000. What? My parents never had that in their lives, Could have bought a house back then with that, But like I said, the more you earn, the more credit that they put on you. The more you want, and then I don't care who you are, what you are. It destroys you to a place. It will take you to a place where you have never been. Because you've never been there before, because you've never had that before. Nobody's ever taught you about having that back in those days. You just got it and you spent it. I mean, I spent it on my friends. I brought cars. I done this. But like I said, throughout the whole journey, like I said, I learnt, and I'm hoping that knowledge is instilled in Brock. I mean, Brock's one of the very lucky guys. He's already bought himself a property, which is I'm so proud of him, and I'm sure his mum and dad are as well. And, listen, boxing's not just about winning belts. It's about going out there, doing your best, and having somebody that's going to say, this is a good place where you put your money. And Brock's dad's a very, very smart man, and I'm proud of Brock for that reason as well. I'm super more proud of him because of the effort that he puts in his work every day. But, to be a kid that's, already investing into properties, to me, it's very important.
That's a good point. Brock, how do you stay hungry when obviously life's going so well? How do you stay hungry and keep chasing these goals?
I got heaps more. It's not hard for me to stay hungry. I mean, this is what I do. This is what I am. So, I have so many goals still left for me to achieve. So, there's no problem with me staying hungry.
Speaking of those goals, when you came up to this weight, I said the other day, the amount of people that came out of the woodworks looking to fight you, they were dead set like seagulls on a bucket of hot chips. They all wanted a piece of you because you'd moved up super welterweight, middleweight, welterweight, everybody around this weight division in Australia. And we've got a lot of great fighters around that division. Everybody was calling you out. Who were some of the ones that caught your attention?
They all caught my attention. All of them.
The Lebanese surfer, Benjamin Hussein.
Benjamin Hussein, Kyle Mazudia. Bring it on. Come on, let's go.
Like I said, it's just natural in the world we live in today with this social media and stuff. But like I said, and I don't want to disrespect anybody here, but I remember a few people bringing up Luke Jackson, Paul Fleming, brought all these guys up thinking they're going to bash this little good-looking kid. Mate, Brock sent him home, never the same again. Luke Jackson, he'll tell you himself, Paul Fleming will tell you that without what his hardest. He's had hard fights. He said that was, they just didn't believe that Brock could do what he was doing, But like I said, and my thing is now that hopefully what's going to motivate him is we're finally going to get what we started this journey out to be. Not to beat Keith Thurman to beat Keith Thurman and to go on and be world champion. That was my dream with Brock, and it still is today.
And I know you don't want to look past this fight that we have right now, but when we talk about that scene, there is so many great fights here domestically for you, including Nikita and Tszyu, who have both been brought up in conversations in the past. What are your thoughts on Nikita, for example, and a potential fight with him?
It's a fight that I'm very interested in. I've been asked about that fight a lot, and that's the fight that I thought was going to happen after December 13th. So, look, I'm open to all these fights once I get through Keith.
What about Tim?
Look, I know Tim's got a scheduled fight. His last fight. I'll tell you what, when the punishment that he took and to get up and to keep trying to continue to fight, I found it very admirable for Tim. So, but then again, of course, I'm up for that fight.
Tim's nowhere near done, brother.
Yeah.
This is just a little setback where, again, listen, if you go to the circus every day and clowns are there, it's you're mixing with clowns. I mean, it's time for him to leave the circus and go to the boxing stadium where people actually know. Listen, just because these people have been around his dad, that doesn't mean you can train. My grandmother could have trained Costa Tszyu and she would have been world champion. My grandmother could have trained Mike Tyson and she would have trained a world champion. My baby daughter at 5 years old could have sat on a bench and watched Muhammad Ali become world champion and say that she... Listen, Tim needs not to go into no Russian training camp. Tim needs for somebody who knows about the sport of boxing to sit him down and show him what he done right and wrong. And Tim will be back bigger and better than anybody. I have no doubt about that.
I'm looking forward to the comeback, absolutely. If we talk more about the opportunities that are still here for you, you touched on someone there before that I'm really interested in, is Cohen Mazudia. Cohen's obviously been in some big fights here in Australia. I know you and him both had conversations about having a fight too. What are your thoughts on Cohen and how that fight might look?
I think it's a great fight for me. Look, Cohen's an experienced guy. Again, he's been around the game for a long time, and it's a fight that I'm very interested in. I mean, he's made some video of me calling me out after my last fight, hanging around the beach in Cronulla or something, expecting me to be there.
Why weren't you there?
You might catch me at Northies, not at the beach, mate.
Let me interrupt.
I don't do
Listen.
recovery.
Nobody's really talking about Cohen until he put up that great performance against Nikita.
Yeah.
And listen, I love Nikita too, but Nikita needs lots and lots of more work as well. So, I mean, I know one thing, that anybody that is going to fight Brock are in for a hard time. This guy doesn't hit you with one good punch. He can punch to the body, he can punch to the head, and every one of them hurt you. I mean, like I said, I had a bodysuit on last week training, and I thought my chest had cracked in half again. Like, this kid is in a great headspace. He's in a great era at the moment, and all these guys don't listen. This is my advice to Brock. Let's take it one step at a time. We got Keith Thurman.
Yep.
If we beat him, whatever. We've got the best promoters in Australia. We've got the best promoters in the world. Let's just ride with them. Because Brock, once you beat one of these guys, listen, like I said, Tszyu can fight, Nikita can fight, all great fighters. But you've got this little bit extra. You look a little bit, well, you're better looking than Ryan Garcia. This is me just being from a promoter's point of view, and you can fight. So I'm just saying, if we can get this all working, these guys are going to go to town on you, and it's I don't have any doubt that you can beat anybody when you prepare properly for a fight.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
That's a decent rap. Better looking than Ryan Garcia. Yeah, take that one. Take that one. Jeff, I've got a question for you. How have you adapted to his weight? Because we saw after the last fight, Brock gets the win. You went to lift him up. You noticed that he was a lot heavier. It didn't go to plan. It was funny at the time, but for me, I thought, geez, is Jeff ready for this extra weight? Have you noticed the difference in him with his training, with the power that he's hitting you with?
Yeah, first of all, and get him back to having half of that 200 grams of meat with me again. No, but without doubt, like I said, I hold the pads, and when he hits it clean, I've got to tell him, listen, anybody can hit the pads, George. Anybody. They're standing there, not moving. But if he can land any of those punches that he lands on those pads, I don't care, and like I said, whether it be Tszyu, Nikita Tszyu, Mazudia, Hussein, he will knock them out. But again, you've got to be able to do that. And his power, of course, has doubled. This kid now eats, 3 meals a day. He does what what the normal human's supposed to do. But us boxers aren't normal humans. We've got to go through lessons and diets, and we've got to make weight. But look, I'm training at the weight that he's training now. It's just unbelievable to feel the power. And like I said, I know he's not stupid. I think that when the time comes and he's ready to hit the big time again, he'll drop down another weight because he can. He knows he can.
Sam Goodman has one of the great followings in Australian boxing. You're definitely well and truly building for this time. Your first main event pay-per-view headline. There's a lot of supporters coming out to see you, Brock. What can we expect at the Hordern Pavilion on March 12th?
I can tell you one thing. Sam sells 120 tickets at $30. We'll sell every ringside seat for you. I think it's a big difference. And listen, I love Sam. I only wish that they brought Sam to my house prior, because I've got this latest head guard that I can hit you with a baseball bat and you won't get cut. And I'm hoping that baby Peter Matressi, when he comes back, I give this to Sam. So, I love Sam. I think that Sam has done an amazing job. And, the greatest thing about Sam Goodman, and I don't care what anybody says, I'll say that I thought it, in a way, would destroy him. But Sam didn't. And when you got a fight like that, he's special. And he is special. And he'll go on to win another world title. But I don't know if, in a way, I think it was bad. He lost a lot of money, but it was also good, because I don't know how you come back after you cop a big beating like I believe you would have copped against, in a way. He doesn't say, but that's just my opinion. But I think that he'll have another chance now to fight for one of the other titles and win it, and he'll just go on to be better and better and better.
No, we look forward to seeing the comeback of Sam Goodman, and I'd have to disagree with you on that one, because I do think that his headspace. I was really looking forward to that fight, and I know he'll be back, and we all look forward to seeing Sam Goodman back in the ring.
So what did you mean about headspace? His headspace again in the fight against, in a way?
I think he was well and truly zoned in. Like you said, he was well and truly zoned in, and I believe that.
1,000,000% he was. But listen, everybody's zoned in, but then you meet a monster and...
Oh, absolutely. And don't get me wrong. You said it before. I reckon he's one of the best fighters of this generation, anyway. And I also think it would have built to, being the greatest upset in Australian boxing history for Sam to get that win.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to seeing him back. But more importantly, March 12, which we have just around the corner, you've got everybody ringside coming through. I'm sure all the De La Salle was a band, wasn't it?
Hopefully we'll have Andrew Johns, we'll have a lot of our supporters in our corner. And, Brock's, like I said, it's beautiful human that when you get to meet him, you get attached to him, and we're going to have a big crowd there. We're going to fill the Hordern up.
Well, they all turned out for your last fight too, didn't they? They were a good little rowdy bunch there, the boys.
They're great. They're great bunch of blokes. So,
and we've got a great bunch. You wouldn't believe that's one fight, and we've got a great bunch of new sponsors, and Bode and these guys here. They just jumped on board, and it's great. That's what the sport's about. That's what you live for. Like for me, I'll never forget when I used to be on TV. Jeff, you're going on a current affair. Can you not wear your tracksuit? I won't go on a current affair. I'm going to give my sponsors. These are the people who put food on my table. I wouldn't do an interview unless I wore my tracksuit and whatever I wanted to wear.
Well, it's great to have that support, and it's a credit to the people and the team that yous have got here going forward. One more thing I just wanted to talk about too. Yous both had the interest in rugby league. Leading into your professional career, you were actually a decent footballer too, Jeff, and Brock as well. Like your family, your brother is he still a Sharky too?
No, he's at Wynnum Manly.
Wynnum Manly.
He's gone up to Queensland, yeah.
But you are a Sharky family, right?
Correct, yeah.
Cronulla Sharks through and through, Jeff.
Parramatta. But listen, I played for you. I played Matthew Shield when I was 15, SG Ball when I was 16. No. Matthew Shield when I was 14, SG Ball when I was 15 and 16, Jersey Flegg when I was 17 and 18. And then I got introduced to boxing, like in the middle of a season. I boxed. Johnny Lewis told me I was good, so I went back and got my head bashed in again. And I loved it ever since. So yeah. And
became one of our greatest fighters of all time, if not the.
Whatever that is we all have opinions. So for me, I just know what I done, and I only have one judge that judges me, and that's the mirror. As long as I look in that every morning, I'm happy, and I'm going out and doing what I do best these days and help people and try to change people's lives. I'm more than happy. I've got a great life at the moment. Twice in 5 years, I've been one day away from death. If it wasn't for Brocky and the boys in Bangkok stealing my key to my room, I wouldn't be here today, So I think it's either that or it was the devil was too scared to have me down there with him. He thought I'd take over down the bottom there.
No, it's an incredible journey that you've been on. I look forward to all of the Sharkies fans getting behind you as well. A local Cronulla boy getting behind the Shire boy out there. So that'll be great. Keith Thurman arrives here 2 weeks before the fight. How are you going to prepare yourself for the war of words that Keith Thurman brings? I think arguably he's one of the most gifted speakers in boxing. And I thought you handled yourself very well at the announcement the other day. Mentally, how do you prepare coming into the fight for those 2 weeks, knowing that he is going to be non-stop on the yap?
Well, I don't know how Brock's going to say. If he says something about me, I'll just punch him in the mouth. That's simple. But
don't do that before the fight. We need him to make it to the ring.
But I'm sure he won't. I totally respect the guy. Like I said, I'm nothing like old school. I just think that, every accolade that Keith gets, he deserves. To still be competitive and stuff at this age, again, I take my hat off to him. And like I said, the more I've watched him, and I've now watched a lot of his fights, wow, what a terrific fighter. And he's a great guy too.
Well, we're looking forward to a great performance. Brock, anything else that you want to share with us before we roll out?
Not really.
That piece of meat.
I'm not sharing that piece, man. Mine's a bit bigger. I'm going for the 400-gram steak. I'm sorry to rub it in, but...
Yeah, but 400, how many of them?
Oh, let's see. It's only morning time yet. We'll see how we go. Boys, thanks for joining us. We're really looking forward to March 12th. Brock Jarvis headlining against Keith Thurman at the Hordern Pavilion. Going to be an absolute cracker. The Jarvis fans will be there. The Fenech team will be there. And
just the boxing fans, that's who I want to be there. But I remember back in the day, not at my fights, but when they had the big fights at down at Double Bay, the line would be all the way up through King's Cross. They're waiting to watch fights. I want all those people to come back out because this guy's old school. He works hard and he does everything that the old fighters used to do. And I'd love, for those people to come back out and in herds to watch boxing again. Like I said, UFC have kind of taken over, but we're going to put fights on like this with Brock there. We can turn that around very quickly.
Well, it's a great fight. Plenty of reason for people to tune in and turn up and support live. It's great to have a fantastic live event here at the Hordern Pavilion on March 12th. So look forward to seeing you there. Look forward to a great performance from Brock. And thanks everyone for tuning in and see you March 12th.